So I have lots of things to say, but they're rarely about my accomplishments or what I've done or who I am. Because every time I get introduced and they go through the list of the things I've done and the places I've been and whatever, I feel like let's just share. It doesn't matter what I've done. It doesn't matter what you've done. None of it matters, right? So a story is told in different circles at different times about two childhood friends who served World War I together. They were lifelong friends. They joined the army together. And this is the story that's told apparently from their lieutenant. Tells the story. They're in the middle of the battle. Horror gripped the heart of a World War I soldier as he saw his lifelong friend fall in battle. Caught in a trench with continuous gunfire whizzing over his head, the soldier asked his lieutenant if he could go out and get his friend. "You can go," said the lieutenant, "but I don't think it'll be worth it. Your friend is probably dead, and you will likely throw your own life away." The officer's words didn't matter to the guy. He decided he was going to do it, and he took off into that no man's land between the trenches. Miraculously, he did manage to get to his friend, and he hoisted him up on his shoulder, and he brought him back to their company's trench. The two of them tumble into the trench. They're looking at each other, and the guy's really hurt, mortally wounded. And his last words to his friends, "I knew you would come. I knew you would come. I knew you would come." The lieutenant says, "I told you it wouldn't be worth it. Your friend is dead, and you yourself are mortally wounded." And the friend says, "Oh, no, sir, it was worth it." And he says, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Your friend is dead, and you're about to die yourself." And he said, "Hearing Jim's words was all I needed. My life has been worthwhile. That was all I needed. I knew you would come." I wonder, for myself and for each of you, what would you run into gunfire for? What is it that means enough to you that you would risk your own life for? I know some of you probably run into that gunfire for anything. I know some of you, and you do. You run into gunfire all the time, right? And I've seen a lot of that in the past year, like constantly we're running into gunfire, right? Over anything, like, whoa, I'm going. Some of you have some very special, limited number of precious things that you would run into gunfire for. Whether it's a spouse, or your children, or your grandchildren, something of value, a principle you would run into gunfire for. Some of you, I imagine, wouldn't run into gunfire for anything. No, thank you. He's already dead. It's already dead. It's not worth saving or it can't be saved. Well, I want to say to you today, in thinking about the story and thinking about how we all react differently to different situations, I want to voice a warning for those of you who would run into gunfire for anything. I want to tell you to beware. Be cautious. We need you. You are precious. Your life has value. You're indispensable. We can't lose any of you. There's not a soul in here that we can just toss away. And not because you're warriors. I've heard that term a lot this weekend, warriors. I mean, you may be warriors, but not because you're warriors. Because you're messengers. You're chosen. You have something to say that's far more important than anything else that's going on in the world today or ever before. You're a messenger. And they're not going to hear that message if you're running into gunfire all the time. I would have no greater hope for you than that you would give your life for something that you think is important. But I want you to be sure that you're getting it right. I would hate to see you toss your life away and miss the opportunity to have done the greatest good, to have fulfilled your mission here. And your mission is chiropractic. I love that you all want to get behind the vaccine thing, but guess what? That's not your mission. We have been so focused this last year on what is wrong, on what we don't like, on how they're getting it wrong. And if I said it once, I've said it a million times. It doesn't matter how bad medicine is. It doesn't make us good. Yeah, they may be bad. They may be getting it wrong. But what about us? What about our good? What value do we have? Doesn't matter how bad anything else is. If we're not good, and we are good, we're immeasurably good, and what we have to offer the world is insanely good. But people don't hear that when we keep focusing on what's wrong. I say the same thing in chiropractic all the time. I've been writing for the ICPA now. I have a monthly column I do for them, the kids' newsletter. I've been doing it. I'm in my sixth year now. Write it every month. And the title of the column is Your Amazing Body, because our bodies are amazing. And they're amazing in so many ways. I'm in my 6th year of writing a monthly column, and I haven't even begun to hit the number, numerous ways that our bodies are so amazing. What I like to tell people in the office when the vaccination conversation comes up is your body is so amazing, it's not gonna matter so much what you do. Because listen, we've done all kinds of crazy things to this body, and our body has demonstrated the ability to rise above it. And that includes the vaccine. Now, I'm not promoting people going out and getting the vaccine, but what people need to understand is that their body is amazing even if they do that. They gotta make the choice for themselves. That's not your choice to make for them. Not everybody is where you are. If you haven't figured that out in the last year, you must be living under a rock. But guess what? They never did, right? How many of us, year after year, 30 years now, come to New Beginnings, and we've been banging our heads against the wall for all kinds of reasons they don't get. They don't come regularly. They think it's only about headaches. Guess what? This vaccine thing's just another example of the same indication that they don't get it. And if you keep telling them what's wrong instead of what's right, they're never gonna get it. I don't say that like because we're wrong, because we're not. We are right. And I hear a lot of this talk about, Selena, I love that, they can't take my hands, they can't take my heart, they can't take my soul. What they can't take from us, Selena, is the truth. This principle is going to be this principle whether we call it chiropractic or not, because it is truth. It's as solid, as real, and as true as the law of gravity. It doesn't matter what you call it. You drop your keys, they fall to the ground, right? It's going to happen. And chiropractic is based on a law of organization. That's what it's all about. That's what that major premise is. That's what that number one, we've heard it a number of times this weekend. That's what we're based in. It's a law. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't want to lose chiropractic, but it doesn't matter because the principle will still be true. And it will rise up. We'll call it something else, and it'll probably be the people in this room that do it. So don't worry. Don't worry about our profession. Don't worry about where it's going. Work your butts off. Do what's right, absolutely. But know in your heart of hearts, you're always going to have a job. You're always going to have a job. You don't need to worry about that. And that, chairperson of the board of Sherman College. That's an amazing thing, but only because it gives me the opportunity to serve this profession in another way. To ensure that that principle is recognized and promulgated and protected. And that's what you all do in your offices every day. So that someday a practice member, a grandchild, a colleague can say, I knew you would come. I knew you would come. Chiropractic, for me, I was not one of those people who had some great story, like I was in a car accident and had really bad headaches and I had adjustments and it was like some miracle. Chiropractic for me started when I was a pre-med student and I decided, because of some health challenges of my own, that it was not the right profession for me. That I couldn't spend my life doing something where you sometimes get it wrong, or you lots of times get it wrong. And my cousin introduced me to chiropractic. I was living in Pittsburgh at the time. I was doing my undergrad work at Carnegie Mellon University, and she said, you should come meet my chiropractor. And I was like, okay. And I didn't think in my head then, oh, aren't they for bad backs? I had nothing. It was literally a clean slate, I think. And I went in, and he said to me, well, you're a pre-med student. You know the nerve system runs your body. You know it's protected by bone because it's so important. It's protected by bone. And if that structure is not in good alignment, it can distort the function of the nerve system, and then your body doesn't run the way it should. It was simple. Made complete sense to me. And I thought to myself, you know what? I wouldn't want that in my body. Let's get me checked. And I got on the table, he checked my spine, I had some subluxation, he gave me an adjustment, done. It just made sense to me. It was simple, logical. People get it. People can get it if we keep it simple, right? And so I got under care there, and as I continued going regularly, I would go into the office, and it would be a fun place. He had a busy office, he saw a lot of families, and I was really attracted to that. Something that I could do that I knew was always right, was the right thing, and we didn't know how it could manifest itself. It could manifest itself in as many ways as you could dream up, right? I mean, yeah, it's good for your back because it's good for your musculoskeletal system, but it's good for your gastrointestinal system or your respiratory system or your endocrine system. It's good. Everyone is better off without interference in their nerve system. It seems so simple. It seems so simple. But the simplest things in life, really hard to do sometimes. You see, you notice that? Like the simpler it is, like we want to make it more complicated. Like we can't sit with it just being simple like that. But it is. And it's been a great joy of mine to care for people in this manner. And we all have stories of people who've come in the office. Some who get better, some who just don't get worse. And sometimes that's a great success. They didn't get any worse. And some who live long lives, and some who welcome you into their families, and some who die, and whose funerals you'll attend. Because guess what? Even people under regular chiropractic care die. Nobody lives forever. It's not our job to have them live forever. That's not what chiropractic is about. Chiropractic is about making sure they've lived their best life. Whatever length that is, whatever that looks like for them, that's what chiropractic does. And I couldn't wish anything greater for you than that you would serve as many people as you possibly can, and that those people at the end of your life show up in an army and tell you, I knew you would come. I knew you would come. Thank you all.